Good morning, everyone. It is Monday. It is 7:30, and I was getting ready to leave for work when I thought I'd look at my analytics and see which of my videos is the one that's made me the most money. And that was simple. It was the one on should we replace CEOs with artificial intelligence. So I started working on a small script because I only have 10 minutes, and it came up with the title, Are CEOs Obsolete? I would have to say that in my opinion, yes, because CEOs aren't worth the hype or the millions of dollars that they require per year to do a job in which they're not really doing anything. They're not down on the ground baking, cooking, cleaning. They're not doing any of the actual hard work. And that's very poorly paid. They get to fly around the country, sometimes not even living in the state where the company is. And that's true for a lot of different businesses, including my own. They don't live here. So, how do you run a business when you don't know what people are doing? And that's the detachment from being an executive and not understanding that your workers can't afford to eat. So, breaking down the role of the CEOs and questioning whether their $1 million salaries are justified. Are they truly indispensable or just expensive figureheads whose main job is to take the blame or credit when things go south? That's a big part of the CEO's job. When the company gets into trouble, like let's just take BP Oil, and they're looking terrible in front of the whole world because their oil well erupted and now there's millions of gallons of crude oil in the ocean that's covering all those animals. And if there's one thing people really, really don't like in this world is filthy wildlife. For some reason, it hits people with power more than, let's say, looking at the inner parts of Oakland right now, where you have thousands of homeless people in their cars and tents on the side of the street. See, we can just look past something like that. They're disgusting, they're rolling around in the mud, but they're invisible. But you hurt animals, especially cute animals, with crude oil. Oh my God, you are in for a political firestorm when it comes to you, your company, and the rest of the world. Bad PR like that means the CEO's got to go. It usually means the CEO has to go and the company has to rebrand itself so that its name isn't synonymous with little animals covered in black tar. But that's just the way it is for a lot of billion-dollar corporations. They the CEO acts as the mouthpiece for the shareholders, and that's his job, is to talk and to convince people. He's just a very expensive position. He's like the lid on your soda, right? It says the brand name, but if what's inside of it happens to go bad, you have to unscrew the lid, take it off, and put a new one. And that's what replacing a CEO is. In fact, we recently had to do it at my evil corp. But I think that CEOs don't really matter. I don't think you need positions in like that in the world. I also don't think we need an HR department in our world. Because if we know one thing about HR, it's not for the workers. I refer to HR as the anti human department because their job is to resolve problems. And by resolve problems, I mean firing people. They're terrible at hiring people. Absolutely the worst department because you're hiring people and you don't know what they actually do. So you take a vague description of what you think the job is, and then you put it out there with all kinds of crazy qualifications and, again, not knowing what it is. The people who should be hiring for positions should be the people that actually do that job, not someone that has no idea what the job is. And you shouldn't get a bonus for lowballing people into taking a job where they're already terribly overqualified. All right, talking point number two, AI versus the CEOs. Who does it better? The efficiency and cost effectiveness of artificial intelligence in decision making strategies and forecasting. Unlike CEOs, AI doesn't need bonuses, yachts, retreats, and can work tirelessly without emotional bias. This is my big one. Those are the people in our society that get very large salary bonuses every year. And they get these bonuses by making certain to crush the proletariat. Every time that they can take away something from them, not give them raises, or cheat them out of some benefit, they will. I've even heard that conditions getting worse inside of companies that have unions, where the union decides that it's going to do something that's not so great for its workers in order to get more money for different people, which I don't understand what the point of a union is if you're not fighting for more for the workers. But this happens. Sometimes you have to give up things in negotiations, and it's not good. But when it comes to the overall needs and what the CEO will do in order to reach those needs, I think having an artificial intelligence without bias is much more logical because it's not going to be thinking, when it's making decisions about people, it's not going to be thinking about another mansion, another yacht, another vacation. It's just going to do its job. And unfortunately, this in this world, money is the easiest way to buy influence. And if the AI cannot be influenced by bonuses, then I think AI has already won. Because if you can replace the executives with AI, and you're going to replace the low level workers with Tesla bots that are also AI, you're looking at a future that's going to require very, very few humans as automation pushes forward. And this automation isn't going to just stop at self checkout machines. Automation has possibly reached a point where they no longer need CEOs. A CEO can, rather than making his millions of dollars a year, you can repurpose him and have him clean your bathrooms or assemble Legos, whatever he wants to do for a regular salary. So instead of having him be the head of the company, you'll just repurpose his position. He can be the corporation's handyman. Need a pickle jar open? Call the CEO. Need an oil change? Call the CEO. Need someone to cut your grass? Call the CEO. He'll be more than happy to do it just so he can keep his job. But that's where you have to take that position. He can't just sit up there and say, well, all the decisions that I make are for the best, are for bettering the company, because we know that's not true. CEOs and executives function in one role in order to enrich themselves. And when you have people that think that way, you have a society that looks like ours, where there's no money at the bottom. And these sickening executives make certain that every year there are record profits for the shareholders and for the people who matter. The people who are actually doing the work, well, they don't get anything. Because remember, as I always say, if you're not worth anything, you don't get anything. And that's the way these people think. And that's why I think the CEO is completely obsolete. He's part of a bygone era that should have been gone a long time ago, because that's a lot of money. That's a lot of wasted money, in my opinion, to pay those ridiculous salaries for people who have no interest in bettering the lives that allow their corporations to reach these record profits. Putting people first should be the number one thing that any corporation does. This isn't modern day slavery. We shouldn't let them treat us like this. And as I always say, we as a society can do better than what we're doing, because this isn't doing better. This is running these corporations the exact same way that they originally started running, and it's not good for the 99%. Pushing them out and pushing them out of the way, or reclassifying their positions into something more humiliating, is my belief on how these things should be run.